Hello, my name is Richard Weitz. I'm a Senior Fellow and Director of the Center for Political Military Analysis here at the Hudson Institute. Till today, January 3rd, 2011, the media is still commenting on the development of the first Russia-China oil pipeline, which officially began operation over the New Year's. And in one way, it's kind of puzzling why this has not occurred earlier, because China and Russia you'd think they'd be natural energy partners. Russia has lots of oil. It's the leading world oil producer, surpassed Saudi Arabia presently. China is perhaps one of the major world energy consumers, and they border each other. So you would think that they'd be natural energy partners the way, say, the United States is with Mexico and Canada and on many areas. But what we've had is, in the past, during the Russia and China, of course, had very poor relations during the 1960s, 70s, and things started to start out in the 1990s, but it took them a while to come to some kind of agreement over how to develop the pipelines, who would pay for them, who would own them, how much China would pay for the oil, and so on. Actually, it was Mikhail Khodorkovsky who, under his company Yukos, developed the idea of let's make a deal and move some of the oil, which we've been giving mostly to Europe, to China. Now we know what's happened with him. He's currently in jail, and his company's been dissolved. But the idea was good enough that the Russian government has go ahead and pursued it. But for a while, they just couldn't figure out how to get the Russian companies were not willing to spend that much money developing a pipeline unless they were assured of a higher price than China was willing to commit to. But then recently they hit upon this deal in which China gave the companies Transneft and Rosneft the $25 billion in loans in return for their building the pipeline and giving them the oil to the China-Russia border, and then China has building its own pipeline to bring it to the rest of China. But I think that some of the media commentary talking about this development being a revolutionary transformation in the world energy flows and so on is exaggerated. I think that it's not going to see the doubling of oil deliveries, which people think. And I think oil is unique, that other energy sectors were not going to see a major transformation between Russia and China. In terms of the oil, the new pipeline is supposed to be giving about 300,000 barrels per day for 20 years. And Russia already gives China that same amount, but they do it by rail. And that's very inefficient, and so that's why they want to move to the pipeline. But it's too simple to say that just doubles the flow, because I think what's going to happen is they're going to discontinue a lot of the rail deliveries and just rely on the pipeline because it's cheaper and more efficient. In addition, a lot of the oil that Russia's trying to do move to the Pacific. It makes sense. They want to diversify. They're sending their oil away from Europe and Eurasia, where about 4/5 ago now, and send more to the Pacific. But China's not the only customer for that. There's Japan, South Korea, and many other countries that would like to get that. And I think that the Chinese are going to have to bid pretty heavily to get that. And I'm not sure that the Russians would want them to have most of it in any case, because they want to keep any one supplier becoming too dependent on them. In addition, oil is the exception. They talked about making a similar arrangement in natural gas, for example, and they even came to an agreement in which they would build these massive pipelines and deliver natural gas to China. But so far, they haven't been able to agree on a price. And that has made, until then, the Russian companies are not going to commit to the enormous sums to build a pipeline unless they're sure that the Chinese are going to buy it. And the Russians say, well, you should pay us the world market price, because if you don't, we can easily send the gas to Europe, or if we liquefy it, pretty much anywhere. And the Chinese say, well, look, we can get the oil, we can get the gas anywhere too, because through liquid. And also, the Americans are now going to develop the shale gas, so therefore they're going to need less of it. And until they come to some agreement on price, I just don't think that's going to happen. And now the Chinese recently announced they're able to reprocess their own spent fuel, so they are going to need less Russian uranium. So, bottom line, it's an important development, pretty much symbolic reasons. Also, it's going to make the deliveries a bit more stable for the next 20 years. But it's not going to see a transformation in the oil sector. And even if it were, the other sectors wouldn't change that much too. So not a major development. Thank you.